I want to start by saying this. I wasn't unhappy. That's what everyone assumes when they hear this story, that I was miserable in my marriage, that my husband was terrible, that something was fundamentally broken. None of that was true. I loved my husband. Our marriage was good, stable, comfortable, but comfortable isn't the same as fulfilled. And I thought, genuinely believed, that I'd found a solution that could make us both happier. I thought I was being innovative, progressive, honest about human needs. I thought polyamory was the answer. My husband disagreed. So let me tell you what actually happened. Not the version he told our friends. Not the story everyone's constructed where I'm the villain who destroyed a perfect marriage. The real story. Because the real story is more complicated than anyone wants to admit. My husband, ex-husband now, let's call him Daniel, and I had been married for 7 years when I first brought up the idea. 7 good years. We owned a house, had careers we loved, traveled together, laughed together. From the outside, we looked perfect. And we were. Mostly. But I'd been doing a lot of reading. Articles about alternative relationship structures, books about polyamory, podcasts about ethical non-monogamy. The more I read, the more sense it made. Why limit yourself to one person? Why pretend one partner can meet all your needs? Why force yourself into a box society created instead of designing a relationship that actually works for you? I started following polyamorous couples on social media, reading their stories, seeing how happy they were. They had primary partners and secondary partners. They had multiple sources of love and support. They had variety and stability at the same time. It seemed perfect. And I started thinking, why not us? Daniel and I were strong enough, secure enough, evolved enough. We could do this. We could be happier. I just had to convince him. I chose my moment carefully. Friday night. Daniel was in a good mood. We'd just finished a nice dinner I'd cooked, his favorite, chicken parmesan. We were on the couch with wine, some documentary playing in the background that neither of us was really watching. It was comfortable, easy, the kind of evening we'd had 1,000 times. But I was nervous. My heart was racing. I'd been planning this conversation for weeks. I want to talk to you about something, I said, muting the TV. Okay. He turned to face me, looking slightly concerned. That sounds serious. It's not bad. I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think it could be really good, but I need you to hear me out with an open mind. You're making me nervous. Don't be nervous. I've just been doing a lot of thinking. About our relationship. About what would make us happier, more fulfilled. He set down his wine glass. Are you unhappy? No. God, no, I love you. I love our life. But I've been reading and learning about alternative relationship structures, and I think there might be a way for us to be even happier than we are now. Alternative relationship structures, he repeated slowly. Like what? I took a deep breath. Like polyamory, ethical non-monogamy, having multiple loving relationships with full knowledge and consent of everyone involved. The silence that followed was heavy. Daniel just stared at me, processing, his face completely neutral in that way he does when he's trying not to react before thinking. I know it sounds radical, I continued quickly, but hear me out. I've been doing so much research, reading books by relationship therapists who specialize in this, following polyamorous couples who've been together for decades, and the evidence is really compelling. Evidence of what? That people in ethical non-monogamous relationships report higher levels of satisfaction, more emotional support, better communication, more personal growth. They're not trying to get all their needs met by one person, so there's less pressure, less resentment, more freedom to be themselves. And you want this, he said flatly. I want us to consider it. Think about it. No one person can be everything to another person. That's an impossible standard. You're amazing, but you don't love hiking the way I do. I'm not into gaming the way you are. We have different intellectual interests, different social needs, different everything. So you want to date other people to meet those needs. Not to date necessarily, but to be open to meaningful connections, to acknowledge that we might meet people we connect with deeply, and that we don't have to shut that down automatically because we're married. Daniel stood up, started pacing. I recognize this. It's what he does when he's overwhelmed. Let me make sure I understand, he said carefully. You want an open marriage where we can both have romantic and physical relationships with other people. Not just random hookups. Polyamory is about actual relationships, about loving multiple people. It's not the same as swinging or casual affairs. But it involves sleeping with other people. Sometimes, if that's what develops naturally. But it's more about emotional connection than just physical. And you think this will make us happier? I think it could. I think taking the pressure off one person to meet all our needs could actually make our relationship stronger. We'd appreciate each other more. We'd be less likely to stray because everything would be out in the open. We'd grow as individuals and bring that growth back to our marriage. He stopped pacing, looked at me directly. Is there someone specific you're thinking about? No, I've noticed attraction to other people over the years. We both have, but I've never acted on it because we're monogamous. I'm just wondering if that's actually the best structure for us. I haven't noticed attraction to other people. Really? Never? I can tell when someone's attractive, but I don't feel pulled to pursue them. I chose you. I'm happy with that choice. But what if you're limiting yourself without realizing it? What if I'm not? What if I genuinely am fulfilled by monogamy with you? I felt my frustration rising. You can't know that unless you've tried the alternative. I don't need to try jumping off a building to know I wouldn't like it. That's not the same thing, isn't it? You're asking me to do something that goes against my fundamental beliefs about relationships. I shifted tactics, pulled out my phone. Look, I've been following this couple. They've been polyamorous for 15 years. They have a primary partnership, and they each have other partners, and they all get along. They spend holidays together. They support each other. They're like an extended family. Daniel glanced at the photos I was showing him. A group of people, smiling, arms around each other. Good for them, he said. I'm glad they're happy. Don't you think we could have that? That kind of abundance? I don't want abundance. I want you. You'd still have me. Would I? If you're spending time with other partners, developing feelings for other people, sharing yourself with others, how much of you would actually be left for me? All of me. That's what people don't understand about polyamory. Love isn't finite. Loving someone else doesn't diminish my love for you. Maybe love isn't finite, but time is, energy is, attention is. You only have so much of yourself to give. And I want all of it. Is that really so terrible? It's limiting. It's commitment. It's choosing each other. It's what marriage means. We were both getting heated now. Marriage means different things to different people, I argued. The traditional model isn't working for a lot of people. That's why the divorce rate is so high. People can't sustain lifelong monogamy. Or maybe people give up too easily. Maybe they chase novelty instead of doing the work to deepen what they have. That's not fair. None of this is fair. You're asking me to fundamentally change our relationship to suit your needs while completely disregarding mine. I'm asking us both to grow. I don't want this kind of growth. I don't want to share you. I don't want you to love other people. I want a traditional, monogamous marriage where we're each other's priority. Why are you being so closed-minded about this? Why are you being so pushy about changing something that's working fine? Fine isn't the same as optimal. Optimal, he laughed bitterly. You want to optimize our marriage like it's a software upgrade. I want us to reach our full potential. Our full potential is us, together, just us. That's what I signed up for, that's what I want, and I don't understand why that's not enough for you. His voice broke slightly on that last sentence, and I saw it then. The hurt, the confusion, the fear that he wasn't enough. "Baby, this isn't about you not being enough," I said, softer now. "You're wonderful. You're everything I want in a partner, but one person can't be everything. That's too much pressure on both of us." "I don't feel pressured. I feel lucky. I feel like I won the lottery when I married you, and now you're telling me that's not enough, that you need other people too. How am I supposed to feel about that?" "You're supposed to feel secure enough in our love to let me explore other connections." I don't feel secure enough for that, and I don't want to." We talked for another 2 hours. I showed him articles, cited studies, explained the philosophy behind ethical non-monogamy. Daniel listened, asked questions, but his conclusion never changed. No, he didn't want polyamory, didn't believe in it, didn't think it would work for us. "So what now?" I finally asked, exhausted. "Now we accept that we disagree about this and we move on." "Move on to what? Pretending I don't want this. Do you want it more than you want our marriage?" The question hung between us. "I want both," I said quietly. "You can't have both. Not with me. I won't do polyamory. That's a hard boundary. If you need that to be happy, then maybe we're not compatible anymore." I felt panic rising. "Don't say that." "Why not? It's true. You want something I can't give you, something I won't give you. We either accept that and find a way forward in monogamy, or we admit this is a deal breaker." "It doesn't have to be a deal breaker. It does for me. I won't share you. I won't be in a polyamorous relationship. Those aren't negotiable." I went to bed that night angry and frustrated, convinced Daniel was being unreasonable, stubborn, close-minded, afraid of growth. I didn't realize I was asking him to betray everything he believed in. Didn't realize that my growth was his nightmare. Didn't realize I'd just started a countdown to the end of our marriage. I didn't drop the subject. Over the next few months, I kept bringing it up, gently at first, then more persistently. I'd share articles, tell him about couples I followed online, suggest books he should read. Daniel's answer never changed. No. "Why won't you even try to understand?" I finally asked. "I do understand. You want the security of marriage and the excitement of dating. You want me as your safety net while you explore other relationships. I understand perfectly. I just don't agree." We were at an impasse. I felt like I was hitting a wall, like Daniel was refusing to even consider growth. I started researching more, joining online polyamory groups, talking to people who lived this lifestyle. They all said the same thing. If your partner won't agree, you have to decide what's more important, the relationship or the lifestyle. I didn't want to make that choice. I wanted both. 6 months after I first brought it up, I met someone. His name was Marcus. I met him at a work conference in Seattle. I was giving a presentation on marketing strategies. He was in the audience, asked insightful questions. We ended up talking during the break. He was smart, charismatic, had this energy that drew people in. We exchanged business cards. Professional, normal. But that night at the hotel bar, we ran into each other again. "Fancy meeting you here," he said with a smile. We talked for 3 hours, about work at first, but then about life, philosophy, relationships. And that's when he mentioned it casually. "My partner and I are polyamorous." My ears perked up. "Really?" "Yeah, have been for about 5 years. Best decision we ever made." I peppered him with questions about how it worked, about jealousy, about time management, about everything. He answered patiently, enthusiastically. "You seem really interested in this," he observed. "I am. I've been trying to convince my husband to try it, but he's resistant." "Resistant how?" "He thinks monogamy is the only way, won't even consider alternatives." Marcus nodded sympathetically. "That's common. Monogamous people can be pretty rigid in their thinking." The way he said monogamous people made them sound closed-minded, limited. I liked that. It validated what I'd been feeling. We exchanged numbers. "If you ever want to talk more about polyamory, reach out," he said. I told myself it was just about learning, about gathering information to convince Daniel. But when I got back to my hotel room, I found myself thinking about Marcus, about his smile, about the way he listened, about how easy our conversation had been. I told Daniel about him when I got home, framed it carefully, academically. "I met someone at the conference who practices polyamory. It was so interesting to hear about it from someone who actually lives it." Daniel looked up from his laptop. "You met a man." "I met a person who could help me understand this lifestyle better. And you got his number. For informational purposes." "Right." His voice was flat. "Don't be like that. I'm just trying to learn." "From a man you're attracted to." "I didn't say I was attracted to him." "You didn't have to. I can hear it in your voice." I felt defensive. "So I'm not allowed to talk to other men now?" "You're allowed to talk to whoever you want. I'm just pointing out that you're cultivating a relationship with someone who practices the exact lifestyle you want and who presumably would be interested in dating you. You're being paranoid." "Am I?" We left it there, but tension hung between us. I started texting Marcus. At first, it was about polyamory. He'd send me articles, book recommendations, links to podcasts. Then it became more personal. "How was your day?" "Thinking about what you said yesterday. Wish you were here to talk about this in person." Daniel noticed. Of course he noticed. "You're on your phone a lot," he said one evening, "just catching up on emails." "At 11 p.m.? "It's Marcus. He sent me an interesting article." Daniel's jaw tightened. "You're texting him at 11 p.m. "It's not like that." "What is it like?" "We're friends. We're talking about polyamory, about relationship structures. It's intellectual." "You don't text your other friends at 11 p.m.? "Because my other friends aren't helping me process something important. Or maybe because you're not attracted to your other friends. This is ridiculous. You're making something out of nothing." "Am I?" "Because from where I'm standing, you're emotionally investing in another man. You're sharing things with him. You're connecting with him. You're building intimacy. That's an emotional affair even if you haven't slept with him yet." "Yet? You think I'm going to cheat on you?" "I think you're laying the groundwork to justify it." The accusation stung because it was partially true. I was getting attached to Marcus, looking forward to his texts, thinking about him during the day. But I told myself it was innocent, platonic, research. 3 weeks after we met, Marcus suggested we meet for coffee when he was in town for a business trip. "Just coffee," I told Daniel, "to talk more about polyamory." "You're going on a date with him." "It's not a date, it's a conversation." "If it's just a conversation, I should be able to come." "That would be awkward." "Why? If it's innocent, if it's just about learning, why would my presence be awkward?" Because he might not be comfortable sharing personal details about his relationship with a stranger." "So you're protecting his comfort over my concerns." "You're being controlling." "I'm setting a boundary. I'm not comfortable with you having private meetings with a man you're clearly attracted to." "So you're forbidding me to see him." "I'm asking you not to. There's a difference." "What if I go anyway?" He looked at me for a long time. "Then you're choosing him over us, and I'll act accordingly." I went anyway, told myself I had to, that Daniel was being unreasonable, that I couldn't let him dictate who I could see, that this was about my autonomy, my freedom, my right to explore. Marcus and I met at a coffee shop downtown, talked for 2 hours, about polyamory, yes, but also about our lives, our relationships, our philosophies. "Your husband sounds really threatened," Marcus said. "He is. He can't handle the idea of me connecting with someone else. That's a sign of insecurity. Secure people can handle their partners having other connections." That's what I keep telling him, but he doesn't see it that way. Maybe he's just not evolved enough for polyamory. I liked the way that sounded. Evolved. Like I was advanced, and Daniel was stuck in the past. When we said goodbye, Marcus hugged me. It lasted a beat too long. Long enough that I noticed. Long enough that I felt something. "Text me when you get home," he said. I did. And I kept texting him. Every day, multiple times a day. We talked about everything. He became my confidant, my emotional support, my validation. Everything Daniel had been, Marcus was becoming. And I told myself it was fine. It was innocent. It was just friendship. But deep down, I knew. I was falling for him, and I was using polyamory as permission. Things came to a head when I told Daniel I wanted to go to dinner with Marcus. Just as friends, I said, to talk more about polyamory. Absolutely not. You can't forbid me. I'm not forbidding you. I'm telling you that if you go on a date with another man while married to me, I will file for divorce. I felt my stomach drop. You're giving me an ultimatum. No, I'm giving you a choice. Our marriage or this polyamory experiment. You can't have both. That's not fair. Life's not fair. Choose. I shouldn't have to choose between being myself and being with you. You're not choosing between being yourself and being with me. You're choosing between respecting our marriage vows and dating other people. Those are two completely different things. The vows are just words. The vows are our foundation. They're what our marriage is built on. And you're treating them like they're negotiable. Everything is negotiable if both people agree. But I don't agree. I've never agreed. I've told you no dozens of times. What part of no don't you understand? I felt cornered, attacked, misunderstood. I thought you loved me. I do love you. That's why this is killing me. That's why I'm giving you this choice instead of just walking away. Because I love you and I'm hoping you'll choose us. But you won't even try. No, I won't try polyamory. I won't share you. I won't watch you date other men. I won't pretend I'm okay with something that violates everything I believe about marriage. Those are my boundaries. You need to decide if you can live with them. I went to dinner with Marcus anyway. Told myself it was just dinner, just conversation. Nothing wrong. We talked for hours. About polyamory, about relationships, about life. He held my hand across the table. I didn't pull away. When I got home, Daniel was packing a bag. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Leaving." "Because I went to dinner. Because you chose. You chose polyamory over our marriage. You chose Marcus over me. You chose your philosophy over our vows. I didn't choose. You did. The moment you went on that date, you chose. And I'm choosing too. I'm choosing to leave before you hurt me any more than you already have. Daniel, please. Do you love him? I barely know him. Do you want to date him? I want the freedom to explore. That's a yes, and I can't be married to someone who wants to explore other relationships. I can't sit at home waiting while you're out with other men. I can't share you. I won't. This is ridiculous. You're overreacting. I'm protecting myself. I'm enforcing my boundaries. I'm refusing to be in a relationship structure I never agreed to. He picked up his bag. Where are you going? My brother's. I'll be in touch about next steps. Next steps? For the divorce. You're divorcing me over one dinner. I'm divorcing you because you fundamentally want something I can't give you. Because you're willing to violate our marriage to get it. Because you've already started a relationship with someone else. Because you've made it clear that monogamy isn't enough for you. But I love you. Love isn't enough if we want different things. You want polyamory. I want monogamy. We're incompatible. We're not incompatible. Yes, we are. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner we can both move on to people who want what we want. He left. Just walked out. Left me standing in our living room, shocked, trying to process what had just happened. I called Marcus that night, told him what happened. I'm sorry, he said, but this is common. Monogamous people often can't handle the transition to polyamory. It's a fundamental incompatibility. But we were so happy before. You were happy in a structure that no longer works for you. You've grown. He hasn't. That's okay. It just means you need to find someone who's on the same page. I don't want to lose my marriage. Then you might have to give up polyamory. But I don't want to give that up either. Then you've made your choice. Had I? I didn't feel like I'd chosen. I felt like I'd been forced to choose. Why couldn't Daniel just try? Just give it a chance? Just see that this could make us both happier. Daniel filed for divorce 2 weeks later. I tried to talk to him, to explain, to make him understand. He wouldn't listen. My mind is made up, he said. We want different things. There's nothing left to discuss. But we can work through this. No, we can't. You want to be polyamorous. I want to be monogamous. There's no compromise on that. Either I share you or I don't, and I won't. So you're just giving up? I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. You've been trying to change the fundamental nature of our relationship for months. I've said no. You've ignored that no. You've cultivated a relationship with another man despite my objections. You've gone on dates. You've held hands. You've started something with someone else. That's not a marriage I can be in. I was exploring. You were cheating, with extra steps, with fancy terminology. But at the end of the day, you started a relationship with another man while married to me. That's infidelity. I don't care how you dress it up. Polyamory isn't cheating. It is when only one person agrees to it. It is when the other person has explicitly said no. It is when you violate the terms of your marriage to pursue it anyway. I had no response. Because maybe he was right. Maybe I had been cheating. I'd just called it something else. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. Quick, clean. We had no kids. Split our assets 50-50. Daniel didn't want anything except out. I started dating Marcus officially. Finally. After months of emotional connection and waiting, we could actually be together. He introduced me to his primary partner, Jessica. She was nice, welcoming even. I'm so glad Marcus has found someone he connects with, she said when we first met. It felt surreal, meeting my boyfriend's other girlfriend. All of us sitting around having brunch together like it was normal. This was it. This was polyamory. This was what I'd wanted. For about 3 months it was exciting. I was dating Marcus, learning about his life, meeting his friends in the poly community, going to meetups and gatherings. Everyone was so open, so evolved, so different from the traditional couples I knew. But cracks started showing quickly. Marcus and Jessica had been together for 8 years. They owned a house together, had shared finances, shared friends, shared everything. I was the new person, the secondary, the addition, which meant I got the leftover time. Marcus would see me on Tuesday nights, sometimes Thursday if Jessica was busy, occasional weekend afternoons, but holidays, those were for Jessica. Birthdays, Jessica, vacations, Jessica, family events, Jessica. It's about hierarchy, Marcus explained when I expressed frustration. Jessica is my primary partner, you're my secondary. That's how polyamory works. But I thought love wasn't supposed to be hierarchical. It's not about love, it's about logistics, about who I've built a life with. You'll always be important to me, but Jessica comes first. I tried to accept that, tried to be okay with being second, but it was hard. Hard to spend Christmas alone while Marcus was with Jessica's family. Hard to celebrate my birthday with just a quick dinner because Marcus had to get home. Hard to be excited about something and realize I couldn't share it immediately because Marcus was with his primary. I started dating other people too. That's what you do in polyamory, right? Met a guy named David. He was married, had kids, could only see me late at night after his family was asleep. We'd meet at hotels, talk for an hour. He'd leave by midnight. It felt hollow, transactional. But I told myself this was normal. This was polyamory. This was what I'd chosen. Then Marcus's primary partner had a crisis. Her father got sick. She needed Marcus's support. "I need to take a step back from seeing you for a while," he told me. "Jessica needs me right now." "How long?" "I don't know. A few weeks. Maybe a month." It turned into 3 months. 3 months of barely hearing from him, of occasional texts, of cancelled plans. Because when your primary needs you, the secondary waits. That's the rule. I was lonely. Really lonely. Reached out to David, but he was dealing with his own family stuff. Tried dating new people, but it was exhausting. Everyone had complicated situations. Everyone had primaries who came first. Everyone had limitations. I started to wonder, was this really better than what I had with Daniel? With Daniel, I was the priority, the primary, the person who came first. Now I was nobody's priority. I was everyone's option. When Marcus finally started seeing me again, things had shifted. He and Jessica were in couples therapy, working on strengthening their relationship. "She's been feeling insecure about our polyamory," he told me. "We need to focus on us for a while." "What does that mean for us?" "It means I need to reduce the time I spend with you, maybe once a week instead of twice, and I can't stay over anymore. Jessica needs more reassurance." So I went from being secondary to being barely existent, from Tuesday and Thursday nights to just Tuesday afternoons, from occasional sleepovers to never sleeping over, from feeling like I mattered to feeling like an afterthought. "This isn't what I wanted," I told Marcus. "I know, but this is polyamory. It's complicated. It requires flexibility. You have to understand that my relationship with Jessica is my foundation. Everything else is extra." Extra. I was extra. After everything I'd given up, my marriage, my stability, my life with Daniel, I was extra. 6 months into dating Marcus, Jessica gave him an ultimatum. She couldn't do polyamory anymore. It was too hard, too painful, too much. She wanted monogamy, wanted Marcus to herself. It was her or everyone else. He chose her. Of course he chose her. She was his primary, his partner of 8 years, his home. I was just the secondary he'd been dating for 6 months. "I'm so sorry," he said when he ended it. "You're amazing. This isn't about you. It's about honoring my commitment to Jessica." "But you made a commitment to me too." "Not the same kind of commitment. Jessica is my life partner. You were important, but you weren't my person." And just like that, it was over. I'd lost my marriage for a relationship that lasted half a year. I was alone, truly alone. Not just without Daniel, not just without Marcus, but without the illusion that polyamory would solve my problems. Because it hadn't solved anything, it had just created new problems, more complicated problems, more painful problems. I kept trying though, kept dating in the poly community, kept telling myself I just hadn't found the right situation yet. Met a couple who wanted to date me together. A triad, they called it. Seemed perfect. I'd be equal to both of them. No hierarchy, except they'd been together for 10 years. And I was the addition trying to fit into an established dynamic. They had inside jokes I didn't understand. Shared history I wasn't part of. Patterns I couldn't penetrate. And when conflicts arose, which they did constantly, they always sided with each other. It was 2 against 1. Always. I left after 2 months. Met a guy who claimed to be solo polyamorous but not looking for a primary partner. Perfect, right? Except he was solo poly because he was emotionally unavailable. Couldn't commit to anyone. Used polyamory as an excuse to keep everyone at arm's length. We dated for 4 months, never progressed past surface-level connection. He refused to integrate me into his life in any meaningful way. "I value my independence," he'd say, whenever I asked to meet his friends or be included in his plans. I was starting to see a pattern. Everyone in the poly community I was meeting was either 1. Already committed to someone else and looking for extras, 2. So damaged they couldn't commit to anyone, 3. Using polyamory as an excuse to avoid real intimacy. Where were the people like me? The people who wanted multiple meaningful relationships, the people who wanted abundance without hierarchy. They didn't seem to exist, or if they did, they were already partnered up and not looking. I'd been in the poly community for 2 years, had dated 7 different people, had been to countless meetups and gatherings, and I was lonelier than I'd ever been in my monogamous marriage. Because at least with Daniel, I'd been someone's priority. At least with Daniel, I'd known where I stood. At least with Daniel, I'd had stability and security and love that wasn't conditional on someone else's primary partner's needs. I'd traded all of that for flexibility, for freedom, for the opportunity to love multiple people, but multiple people who all loved me less than they loved someone else. Multiple people who saw me as optional. Multiple people who could drop me the moment their primary needed them to. This wasn't abundance. This was scarcity with extra steps. I ran into Daniel a year after the divorce. He was at a coffee shop with a woman. They were laughing about something. Easy. Comfortable. He saw me. The laughter faded. "Hey," he said. "Hey." Awkward silence. The woman, pretty, normal-looking, watched the exchange. "I'll grab our drinks," she said tactfully, walking away. Daniel and I stood there. "You look good," I said. "Thanks. You too." "Is that your girlfriend?" "Yeah, Sarah. We've been together for 8 months." "That's great. I'm happy for you." "Are you?" "Yeah, of course." More silence. "How's the polyamory thing going?" he asked. I thought about lying, about saying it was amazing, that I was happier than ever, but I was tired of lying. "It's complicated," I admitted. "Complicated how?" "Turns out it's not as easy as the articles made it sound. Lots of rules, lots of hierarchy, lots of being the secondary partner. So you're not someone's primary?" "No." He nodded. "That must be hard." "It is, but I'm learning, growing." "Good. I hope you find what you're looking for." Sarah was waving at him from the pickup counter. "I should go," he said. "Daniel," he paused. "Do you ever regret it, not trying polyamory with me?" He looked at me for a long moment. "No. I regret that we wanted incompatible things, but I don't regret knowing what I need and refusing to compromise on it. I need monogamy. I need to be someone's only romantic partner. I need traditional commitment. That's not a flaw, that's just who I am." "And you found that with Sarah?" "I did. She wants the same things I want. It's easy, natural. We're on the same page." "I'm glad." "Are you? Because it sounds like you're still figuring out if polyamory is actually what you want." "I want the freedom." Freedom isn't the same as happiness. Sometimes limitations create depth. Sometimes commitment creates security. Sometimes choosing one person is more fulfilling than choosing multiple people. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just telling you what I've learned, what works for me, what I tried to tell you a year ago. He walked back to Sarah, put his arm around her, left with their coffee, and I stood there, alone, wondering if he was right. 2 years after the divorce, I'm still trying to make polyamory work. I'm dating 2 people. Both are married to other people. Both have primaries. I'm secondary to both, which means I'm a priority to neither. I spend holidays alone, birthdays alone, weekends alone when their primaries need them. I get the scraps of their time, the leftover energy, the stolen moments, and I'm starting to realize this isn't what I wanted. I wanted abundance, multiple sources of love and support. What I got was scarcity, always competing for attention, always wondering if I matter. I wanted freedom, to explore connections without limitation. What I got was complicated schedules and constant negotiation, and never quite feeling secure. I wanted to enhance my life, to add to what I had with Daniel. What I got was the loss of everything we built together in exchange for relationships that feel fragile and conditional. My therapist asks me if I regret leaving my marriage. I didn't leave, I correct her. Daniel left. Because you wanted polyamory. Because he wouldn't even try it. Should he have tried something he fundamentally disagreed with? I don't answer, because I know what she's getting at. That I made a choice. That I chose polyamory over my marriage. That I'm responsible for the consequences. But admitting that feels like admitting I was wrong about everything. And I'm not ready to do that yet. Maybe I never will be. I think about Daniel a lot. About our marriage. About what we had. About what I threw away. I tell myself I didn't throw it away. That we wanted incompatible things. That we would have been miserable if I'd stayed monogamous. But I don't know if that's true. I was happy with Daniel. Our marriage was good. I just convinced myself it could be better. That I could be happier with 2 men instead of 1. That more love would mean more fulfillment. But what I learned is that depth matters more than breadth. That being someone's priority is better than being someone's option. That commitment and limitation can create a security that freedom never provides. Daniel knew that. He tried to tell me. I didn't listen. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd said no to polyamory. If I'd chosen Daniel over the philosophy. If I'd valued what we had over what I thought could be. Would I be happier? Would we still be married? Would I have everything I thought polyamory would give me, just with one person instead of many? I don't know, and I'll never know. Because I made my choice. I chose the idea over the reality, the possibility over the certainty, the philosophy over the person, and I lost everything. Here's what I want people to understand. I genuinely believed polyamory was the answer. I genuinely thought it would make me happier. I genuinely believed Daniel was being closed-minded for not trying it. But I was wrong. Not wrong about polyamory being right for some people, but wrong about it being right for me, wrong about it being worth my marriage, wrong about thinking I could have both. Daniel gave me a choice, polyamory or him. I chose polyamory, and I've regretted it every day since. But here's what I can't admit to most people. I still believe in polyamory as a concept. I still think monogamy is limiting for some people. I still think multiple relationships can be fulfilling. I just don't think I'm capable of making it work. I don't have the emotional bandwidth for multiple partners. I don't have the confidence to be perpetually secondary. I wanted to be primary to someone. I wanted to be a priority. I wanted what I had with Daniel. I just didn't realize it until it was gone. Daniel got married last month to Sarah. I saw the photos on social media. The caption said, "Found someone who wants what I want." I knew it was about me, about our failed marriage, about the incompatibility that destroyed us, and I felt empty, not jealous exactly, just aware that he'd moved on, that he'd found what he needed, that he was happy. While I was still struggling, still trying to make polyamory work, still looking for something that felt like home, still alone. So here I am, single, dating 2 married men who both have other priorities, still defending polyamory, even though it's made me miserable, still telling myself I made the right choice even though I lost everything, still alone, because I said I'd be happier with 2 men instead of 1, and my husband said I'd be happier without him. He was right. I would have been happier with him. Just him. Only him. But I didn't realize that until it was too late, until he was gone, until he was married to someone else, until I was exactly what I'd asked for, and exactly what I never wanted. I wanted more. I got less. I wanted abundance. I got scarcity. I wanted freedom. I got loneliness. And I have no one to blame but myself, Because Daniel offered me everything, and I said it wasn't enough. Now I have nothing, and nothing is definitely not enough, but it's all I have, and it's all I'll ever have. Because the man who actually loved me is gone, and the philosophy I chose instead doesn't love me back.